with an update surrounding Nash Carter's release from WWE and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for April 7th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With Monday Night Raw being a 3-hour show, many have criticized the program for being too long, as Seth Rollins did the same during his appearance on the Sports Illustrated Media podcast. I think a 3-hour show is just obnoxiously long every week. Everything gets stretched out, and you've got to cram. You get to fill 3 hours of television. There's just nothing to be done. That's just how it is. So I think 2 hours is a beautiful kind of number for a pro wrestling show, and I think it's easier to make everything mean a little bit more. On SmackDown when I was there last year, I hardly ever wrestle on television, and so it was kind of a big deal. Former NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez has done it all on the brand. As she recently reunited with Dakota Kai to take on Toxic Attraction, Dave Meltzer pointed out on Wrestling Observer Radio that Gonzalez could be due for a call-up. JC quick chop blocked Raquel, and then pinned her after a spinning kick, and I had to think that Raquel is going up to the main roster soon. I don't see why you would pin her, I mean, the situation is so quick. Talking with Ryan Satin on Out of Character, Orton gave his thoughts on being Triple H's last opponent. I don't know how I feel about that. It really feels like an honor. I just hate that it was the last match. I hate that we had no idea that was the last match. You know what I mean? In your head, it's always going to go down in the manner you want it to go down. You're going to get that last match. I know in my head what I'd love to see happen. You know what that is. And it's just being able to set it all up to where you have that one opponent, handpicked opponent, you can just kill it with, and you have the best story going, and you back out a year, and then it culminates in this match that's what you hang the boots on, but that is really not how it happens. For his feud with AJ Styles, Edge would turn heel when Becky Lynch, once a beloved fan favorite, is also a heel on programming. On Busted Open Radio, Bully Ray commented on this, accusing WWE of forcing fans to hate these two. WWE will force a lot of stuff on us. They are forcing me to hate Edge. I just do not hate Edge. And it's not because Mark and Adam are friends. It is simply because Mark doesn't want to hate the character of Edge. There is nothing hateable about his real life story is too real to ever hate him. Becky Lynch, I don't want to hate Becky. I like Becky. There's nothing about Becky that I hate. Stop forcing me to hate people. There's plenty of people around that we can get real heat, steam, hatred on. Don't give me uber baby faces. I'm talking as a fan here. On the AEW Unrestricted podcast, William Regal spoke about making his way to AEW, saying he thought about taking a break from the business following his release from WWE. Very quickly, I was checked out. As you can get older, and you hear all these things when you're younger about how time flies when you get old, it may have only been a couple of months, but once I was no longer needed in my former line of work, I've done nothing but do this for a living since I was 16 full time, apart from a couple of years off with different things that had gone on health-wise and a few injuries. I had done nothing but wrestling. That's it. I had a great run, and I'm going to take maybe a year off, except for, I was thinking about this time, I would start looking for the odd things in the UK, just so I could go and see my family and go home for a bit. Then, I get a call from Bryan Danielson. It sounded very exciting, just to go back and be talent, basically. As soon as I walk in the door, everyone seems to be asking me to do other things. You can do this, a lot of that, but for the last 10 years, I've been doing a lot of everything. It's been nice to just go out and be me. I'm going to do things anyway. I can't help that. The reason I ended up with the job before is I know Bryan and all these people, is because I will always be at the ring showing people stuff, and I got to know a lot of people over the years because people did that for me in Britain. Once they realized I wasn't going anywhere, I couldn't have any better wrestlers take me under their wing and teach me and show me and put me in places. I felt that was part of my, if I don't do that, I'm not leaving this job in the right way. With the pairing of Carmella and Zelina Vega splitting on Raw, Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that WWE is preparing to break up even more tag teams. WWE, when they put a team together, one of the things is that it's always about breaking them up. You know, New Day being the exception because they're brothers. They don't do that. But for the most part, when they set up a team, you know the idea is to break them up. And there's nothing wrong with breaking up teams. When you have good ideas for singles that are better than your ideas as a team, absolutely break them up. But when you have no ideas, and these guys aren't going to be better as singles, and they are great teams, why break them up? Speaking of WWE plans, Lacey Evans has not been seen since announcing her pregnancy on February 15th for Raw, as Mike Johnson of PW Insider noted that she is returning soon. Lacey Evans, who took time off from WWE back in 2021 in advance of her having her second daughter, is slated to return to WWE shortly. Evans is scheduled to be at tomorrow's Friday Night SmackDown taping in Milwaukee. At WWE Evolution in 2018, Nikki Bella would challenge Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship, but would end up losing by submission. On the This Is Paris show, Nikki would reveal that she wants another crack at Rousey. I think one day that I would like to relive was when we, once in like the lifetime of wrestling, we got to have an all-women's pay-per-view, and Ronda Rousey and I main evented it with Brie. It was historic and just what we fought for, and I remember I was going through a lot mentally at that time, and had to hide it because I was going through my breakup. It was already an epic moment, but inside I knew it could be even more epic. Evolution, I'd relive it, and I'd beat Ronda. I wouldn't lose, I'd actually beat her. Following his patellar tendon injury at WrestleMania, PW Insider is reporting that WWE star Rick Boogs underwent successful surgery to repair his quad tear earlier this week in Birmingham, Alabama. We are told Boogs is slated to leave Birmingham this weekend to return home and begin the process of healing and rehabbing the injury. According to The Observer, Boogs should be out for a couple of months. Making his return to WWE at WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes would defeat Seth Rollins at the grandest stage of them all. This week on Raw, Rhodes cut a heartfelt promo revealing his mission to win the WWE title for his father, the American Dream. While Cody would note after the show that he was able to speak in an unscripted and raw fashion, it seems that promo was scripted. As Steve Carey of Ringside News wrote, "Okay, I don't want to be that guy, but here it goes." Cody Rhodes said that his promo on Raw this week was unscripted. It was 100% scripted. It was scripted down to practically every word. It makes sense why Cody wants fans to believe it was improvised, but that's not the case. NXT Tag Team Champion Nash Carter was recently released by WWE, as many thought this was due to his wife Kimberly accusing him of abuse. On Wrestling Observer Radio, it was said that his release did not stem from those allegations. Also came out today that Nash Carter, who is one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, has been fired. And obviously there were a lot of allegations of abuse, and there was a picture that surfaced of him dressed as Hitler. And I think the most amazing thing about it to me is that there were rumblings about this well over a week ago, to the point where he did a job on NXT last week. I thought, well, it's probably going to be the end of him. And then Saturday came and they won the tag team titles. And now here we are and he's been fired. What would cost him his job was another picture, as Meltzer added. This is a really weird situation because he was fired for the Hitler picture. So this is, because of the other allegations, is not what he was fired for. The wife of Carter's tag team partner started the hashtag Justice for Nash Carter, taking to Twitter to react with many to this. "I will not give up and I will continue to fight for my friend and his innocence. For those saying to release these texts, I'd rather have him bring it to the court for a slander and defamation case. This is only the beginning. I open Twitter and see that they fired Nash Carter. Bro, that's some real BS, man. She lied and made up a whole bunch of excuses for attention and now he got fired. That don't sit right with me. It took WWE a year to fire Velveteen Dream for accusations, but it only took WWE a week to fire Nash Carter for fake accusations. I'll admit, I believed Kimberly at one point with the abuse allegations, but the evidence points to her lying about Nash Carter. She's contradicting herself at every turn and was praising NC despite being abused. Now NC has been fired." Talking on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Johnny Gargano mentioned his exit from WWE in December, saying he still has a good relationship with the company. I feel very content in leaving WWE. It was just a time period in my life where I was like that chapter I felt was closed as well as I could close it, to be able to end on that note and end that story the right way and get that opportunity to go out there and basically thank everybody I wanted to thank. I thank people that don't even work for the company anymore. I had no restraints. I literally just went out there and spoke from the heart. It was not scripted, and to be able to do that, like I said in the Renee interview, to be given that platform to do that, that's an incredible amount of trust. And that shows you the relationship that I have and continue to have with people in WWE and with people in NXT, to where they trusted me on live television with a live microphone. I could have literally said, I am signing with this place, and slammed down the microphone. I could have done anything I wanted, but I have way too much respect for everyone in that building, way too much respect for everyone in that company. And like I said, I have such a great relationship there that it just felt like at the time and now I just want to have the chance to go out and do my own thing. When talking about how long he'll continue wrestling, Gargano said it's hard because obviously the name Johnny Gargano around wrestling is always going to be beneficial money-wise. People are always going to want to see me or meet me, want to see me wrestle, want to learn from me, so in reality I have a job for life. I could back and be a producer, go back to WWE and be a coach, I could go do whatever, I could train people. I have a great relationship with everyone there. I'm very lucky that I have that, because that's always in the back of my mind of what I'm going to do after wrestling, because a part of me is saying I only want to wrestle until I'm 40, and that's only 6 years away at this point. So ideally, I have about 5 years to really kind of maximize what I want to do in this. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.